The rifle that killed JFK. A Dallas policeman holds up the rifle that Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly used to kill President Kennedy. It is officially accepted that Oswald smuggled this gun into the Texas School Book Depository on the morning of the assassination, November 22, 1963, and shot President John F. Kennedy with it. The National Archives facility in College Park, Maryland has it now. The Spruce Goose. Aircraft designer and famous recluse, Howard Hughes helped design the H for Hercules, commonly called the Spruce Goose. It was the only prototype of a flying boat to be used in World War II. Assembled in secrecy and flown only once, the aircraft is now displayed at the Evergreen Aviation Museum in McMinnville, Oregon. Mussolini's car. Attempting to seek asylum in Switzerland after escaping prison, Benito Mussolini and his mistress Clara Petacci were arrested in this 1939 model Alfa Romero. It eventually ended up with American Army officer Major Charles Pettit, who shipped it to his family's farm in upstate New York, where he drove it until it broke down and then shoved it in a barn. One extensive restoration later, it was sold at auction in 2015 for $2.1 million. Lincoln's rocking chair. At Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., on April 14, 1865, during a production of Our American Cousin, the Lincoln presidency ended in this very chair by the gun of a Confederate sympathizer. After the assassination, the chair was seized by the federal government and eventually found its way back to the original Ford family, who later sold it at auction. Today, the chair, with a visible bloody stain, can be seen at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. Lincoln's top hat. When we think of Abraham Lincoln, one of the first things we think about is his famed top hat, which made him tower over people more so than he already did. This particular hat had a black silk mourning band added in remembrance of his son Willie. The last time it was worn was on that fateful night in Ford's Theater. It is now on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. Frida Kahlo's prosthetic leg. Considering the iconic artist Frida Kahlo's former home of Casa Azul in Mexico City is now a museum to honor her, it's no surprise that that's where her prosthetic leg ended up, wearing one of her colorful pieces of footwear. Kahlo lost her right leg at the knee in 1953 to gangrene contracted from a previous surgery. Bonnie and Clyde's car. Known for their bank robberies and murders, the famous criminal duo of Bonnie and Clyde were eventually ambushed and killed by law officers in their car, this 1932 Ford V8, that was left riddled with bullet holes after the ambush. This photo was taken by FBI investigators on May 23, 1934, and the famed car that was once a traveling exhibit now sits in a casino in Prim, Nev. The Actual Diary of Anne Frank. The Jewish teenager whose reprinted diary became a global best-selling book probably wouldn't have imagined it being on display after her death. Anne Frank's original diaries detailing her life hiding with her family during the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands is displayed at the Anne Frank House in Amsterdam. John Dillinger's guns. Gangster John Dillinger operated with his gang to rob 24 banks and 4 police stations, among other unsavory activities. Shown are a few of his weapons found abandoned in a resort near Mercer, Wisconsin. The city of Auburn, Indiana has lobbied to get back any stolen guns belonging to their police department so they can sell them to fund their new training center. Edison's first demonstrated bulb. This is a bulb used in the first public demonstration of Thomas Edison's most famous invention, the first electric incandescent lamp. It took place at Edison's Menlo Park Laboratory on New Year's Eve, 1879. The year before, Edison set out to develop a practical electric light. The search for a practical filament at the Menlo Park Laboratory resulted in this carbon filament. The National Museum of American History looks after it now. Tesla's power circuit. Everyone has seen photos of Tesla's famous coil, but hey race, what powered it? The primary circuit, showing an oil capacitor bank, supply transformer, rotary spark gap, and part of the secondary winding. The high-voltage generator was built in his Colorado Springs laboratory in 1899, and the first time Tesla fired it up, the power overload set fire to the generator of the electric company, destroying it. Many of Tesla's experiments were either auctioned off or burned in fires.